Hey everyone, this is Miss Time Bunny, and today I am recording the LGBT tag. So yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to do an actual talking video for a change to the camera rather than doing my little vlogs and such like. But yeah, and you know what I'm like? I'm always a sucker for tag videos. So yeah, gonna have to excuse the weird lighting because it's like I'm trying to get as much natural lighting in as possible, but I had to turn on my main light as well to get a bit more because it's like getting a bit late in the evening now. It's nearly 6 p.m, so it was starting to get a little bit dark, and plus then I've got the light from my iPad as well shining up here, so I have to excuse the sort of like pretty slightly odd lighting today. But anyway, on we go. So question 1, we have, what do you identify as? And I identify as asexual, which basically means I don't really have that much of an interest in sex, if at all. But there's kind of like a spectrum with asexuality. You get some people at one end who are like very much like, no, I don't want to have sex, and then you get people who like graduate along the line where there's like those people that will have sort of like sort of sexual desires very occasionally, or they might only have them under certain circumstances, etc., etc. So it's not just a sort of straightforward like we don't have sex and we're repulsed by it. We're not all like that. So, but best thing to do is probably have a little nose on Google to get probably a better explanation and a more in-depth one. Right, question number 2. How did you discover your sexuality? Well, for me personally, it's been like a very long working process because for a long time, it was a case that I thought maybe I was bisexual, and I thought maybe I was like demisexual and various other things. But now it's like, no, I'm definitely very much of the asexual camp. Right, so number 3. Who was the first person you told? I think it was possibly sort of like my fiance and also some online friends. So, but I think there was a few people that kind of guessed anyway. So they were like, yes, no big surprise. We kind of figured it out months ago. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Right, number 4. Describe what was it. Describe what it was like. I think everyone was just kind of like, nah, cool. Just got on with it. No one was really that fussed. Right, so number 5. If you're out, how did your parents, guardians, friends react when you told them? I think, to be honest, it was a case of I never really came out as such, because I think it was more some people guessed and other people don't really care enough to sort of like worry about it. They're just like, you do whatever. So, right, so number 6. What is the one question you hate people asking about your sexuality? I was always usually the stupid questions like, oh, how can you be asexual when you've had sex? And, oh, maybe you've just not met the right person and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, no, I'm really not that bothered about it. And hello, princess. She's obviously decided she wants to be in the video. But yeah, it's always stupid questions like that. It's like, you can sort of have sex and then discover afterwards that you're like whatever sexuality. Like, there's plenty of people out there who basically they thought they were straight and then realised they were gay, or vice versa, etc., etc. So it's like, it can happen. Right, number 7. Right, I'm not going to do the hands because I can't now, because the dog's now sat on the other hand. So, what is your favourite thing about the LGBT community? I think it was finding out that there was other asexuals and other polyamorous people out there, because I always felt like me and my fiance were like the few sort of weird ones, and there wasn't really that many polyamorous people, and that I always felt like, am I the only asexual in the world? But I've since found out that basically I'm wrong on both accounts, so it's all good. So we like that. Number 8. Have you ever been to a gay bar? yes, but to be honest, it's not really something I'm into, like gay bars and clubs. It's just, I don't know, I've always been a bit towards that kind of stuff, you know? It's like, although I remember seeing a post on social media, I can't remember if it was Twitter or Facebook or somewhere, and someone suggested the idea of maybe like, why don't they have sort of like, kind of like LGBT cafes and things like that, because not everybody's into alcohol, and alcohol doesn't necessarily gonna make somewhere a safe place, you know. And I thought, yes, that needs to be a thing. We need like sort of LGBT coffee shops. I'd love that. Right, number 9. Who is your favourite LGBT icon and advocate celebrity? Now, there's going to be a few of you watching this who are probably going to totally guess what one of them's going to be, because he's just wonderful. But yes, I kind of had 3 for this question. They were Freddie Mercury, George Michael, and Paul O'Grady, and I will explain as to why briefly on each one. It's a case of like Freddie Mercury because, wow, he was just Freddie Mercury, and he had a wonderful singing voice, and he was just completely overly flamboyant and didn't give a shit. He was just like, yes, I'm an over-the-top gay man, deal with it. It's because of screw your toxic masculinity, you know. George Michael, again, because he just had a really awesome singing voice. And I think it's because, like, with him and Freddie, it was probably more, I think, sort of being gay men, like, through, like, sort of, like, 70s and 80s, even if they weren't necessarily out officially by then. Yeah, it's just being that, obviously, that sexuality during a time when people were, like, homophobic as fuck and being gay was illegal and shit like that in this country. Or, like, sort of, like, the whole, you know, you're gay, kind of attitudes. The fact that both of them sort of, like, I think they just sort of, like, rather than lowering themselves to the level of the newspapers and media, they generally just rose above it and did a, so what? Like, you know, does it matter who we're boning? Why are you so bothered, kind of thing, you know? So yeah, I think there's just lots of reasons with those two. And with Paul O'Grady, it's because he loves dogs. You know, I think back in the days when he used to do his Lily Savage act, I was a bit just like, towards him. But I think it was more sort of in recent years, he's like obviously done more chat show stuff and started doing For the Love of Dogs and things like that. I think it's just, I don't know, I think it's just seeing a different side to him, and he's actually sort of like, seems like a really cool bloke, and he proper loves dogs, and he very much advocates for Staffordshire Bull Terriers and breeds like that, saying like, excuse me, they're not fishes, thank you very much, shut your face, you know. So yeah, as soon as he was like, turned out he loved dogs and he was constantly sticking up for Staffies, I was like, I fucking love this bloke, he's awesome. So yeah, he's cool. Right, number 10. Have you been in a relationship and how did you meet? Yes, I'm very much engaged. I'm an engaged person. So, and believe it or not, we met through my ex-boyfriend, which is quite funny. It's like he introduced us and then eventually turned into a pissy little bitch. And I ended up just getting with her, and we've been together about 8 years now. So it's like, so all I can say is, cheers, Martin, for being a dick. Right, number 11. Have you ever faced discrimination? Well, I don't as such, but it tends to be more my fiance that gets it from people, really, because obviously where I'm asexual but she's bisexual, and also with us being polyamorous, a lot of people get like really arsey and act all like, oh well, you obviously don't love each other if you sort of like get off with other people and have a go at her because it's like, oh, you're hot off having sex with other people, it's not fair on your fiance and all this lot. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't give a shit about having sex, you know, and she does. And so that's kind of the whole point of being poly, is that, you know, it's okay for us to see other people. But hey ho, such as it is. Right, number 12. Your favourite LGBT show or movie? See, this was a tricky one because I was thinking when I was making my notes for this video, and I really could not think of anything that would be classed as like LGBT, you know, or anything like that. Because you obviously get stuff like, you know, I'm trying to think of some examples, but for the life of me, I can't think of any at the minute. But it's just, I personally couldn't think of any that might be classed under that banner. But I mean, it might just be like, perhaps like, there might be sort of something that I enjoy that I don't see it in that respect, and maybe it is classed as LGBT. But personally, I couldn't think of any that would be classed under that. So, but if you've got any recommendations, do put them in the comments below when I can talk. Yes, Princess, would you like to be in the video? Would you like to join in? Okay. Right, number 13. The most ridiculous thing you've heard about the LGBT community. It's usually stupid comments like, we're all paedophiles and we're trying to, like, you know, sort of convert all the straight people in the world and trying to sort of like kidnap children and stupid shit like that. And I'm just like, really? Is that the best insult you can come out with? You're stupid. Right, number 14, the LGBT slur you hate the most. Again, this is a bit like number 12. It's just like, I couldn't really think of anything. I don't know why. It's just this, you know, I know there's some words out there that people in the community don't like, say like maybe like queer or dyke, things like that. But to me personally, there's not any that bother me. I'm just kind of like, and just sort of let it go over my head. So, I don't know. I think it's just, maybe I'm just very much like, I've got better things to get upset about, and it just doesn't really bother me, if that makes sense. Right, at number 15, end this on something you'd like to tell the world about LGBT. I think probably what I thought of was more aimed at people who are LGBT and maybe they're sort of like, maybe they're younger than myself, like teens or 20s, or maybe they're an older person who's only just realised that maybe they're sort of like part of the community. I'd say, look, you know, people are going to be shitty, cruel, ignorant and all the like. I'm not going to pretend they're not, because people are twats basically. So just prepare yourself for the fact that, you know, if you are LGBT, people are going to be dickheads basically. But I would honestly say, if you can, try and get yourself a good little support network, whether that be real life friends and family, or if it's perhaps a little group of friends online, or even if it's maybe just someone at work who's willing to be like a sympathetic ear, or just anyone really. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, you know, family members or real life friends. It just can be anyone. If you can get yourself a little support network of sort of people that can sort of be there for you and you can chat to, or, you know, even if there's like sort of friendly forums you can go to or whatever, you know, just have that there for you, because it will help. Because it's like, I've got, you know, sort of a friend of mine, you know, Mr. Badger at the Badger Show, you know, sort of, God, some of the random conversations we've had at stupid AM in the morning, or, you know, whatever, we were just chatting about random crap, you know, or, you know, he's like always asked me questions about things because he's being genuinely curious and stuff like that, and it's just nice to have that there, you know. So yeah, I'd certainly say just try and get that little support network around you, because trust me, it does help. So I'd say go for that. And just rise above people being twatty. You know, I know that's probably easy for me to say, and I know that people can be dickheads and it can be difficult, but like I say, having that support network does really help. So, but I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to end it here because my light's getting worse now, because obviously it's getting dark out there now, as you can probably tell. Now, this video's gone on for nearly 15 minutes as well, so I will end here and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.